I was really looking forward to Candy Cane Lane. The trailer made this look great. I love Eddie Murphy. I love Christmas films. Was it worth the wait? I'm not sure. I think I saw the trailer for this maybe 3 weeks before it came out, so I didn't have a tremendous wait, but it was definitely one of the films at the top of my to watch list for the Christmas films that are released this year. And it's definitely not at the top of my favourite Christmas films that I've watched this year. Because after the first hour or so, it begins to really slow down, and I feel like it just kind of doesn't go anywhere. It's very repetitive. It tries too hard to inject some action in it. I'll mention a specific scene to highlight that, and I just feel like it got away from itself. It stopped being fun and creative and really engaging and just became something where I wanted to get to the finish line and I kind of wanted to see how it would conclude and get it over and done with. So I'm glad I don't give star ratings because I don't know how I feel about it. I really enjoyed the first hour or so, and then the final 40 something minutes just really seemed to drag. This was, of course, released this year in 2023. It's directed by Reginald Hudlin, written by Kelly Younger, and stars Eddie Murphy as Chris. And he is a father and husband who is going all out for the holiday decorations. There is a cash prize in the neighborhood, so they believe, and he wants to win. Of course, he does. So he buys these Christmas decorations under kind of mysterious circumstances, and I have to say the shop is stunning. And he buys them from this person called Pepper. And Pepper is a character I love. She's played by Jillian Belle, and I just think she's fantastic. Whenever Pepper was on screen, the character completely just stole the attention from everybody else, and I just thought she was fabulous. And it turns out that there's a catch. Chris has to find all of the gold rings before, I believe it was 8 p.m. on Christmas Eve. And the film is about him trying to find these gold rings. And the gold rings come about within circumstances based on the song The 12 Days of Christmas. And that means there are a lot of birds in this, for one thing, but a lot of other characters that represent the various elements of the 12 Days of Christmas. And he has to try and get all of these gold rings. And if he doesn't find them all, he's going to turn into one of the little people. And these little people are, well, I don't want to use the word figurines because they are alive and they were previously living, but I love them. That's something I think the film definitely did right, was the design of these little people. They're very funny. I think for me, a lot of the comedy came from these little characters, and I love them. Visually, the film is gorgeous, particularly whenever we see a lot of the things with special effects, such as these little figurines and these gorgeous light displays. The display of the house, we're told early on that there's one home that always wins this competition every year, and the display is gorgeous. Way, way, way over the top, but absolutely stunning. So the film visually is very entertaining, and it is quite funny. But after about an hour, I didn't time it exactly, but it's roughly after, definitely after the halfway mark, things just became really tedious, and I didn't feel like we were moving anywhere, and the joke wore a bit thin of the whole 12 days of Christmas. These things are going to be popping up, and by that point, I just think it could have wrapped up in about 20 minutes, and I think that would have been a bit better. And then things just seemed to drag on, and I just wanted to get to the end at that point. So it is kind of a film of two halves. Maybe not quite half equally, because as I said, it was definitely after the halfway mark when I started to feel that things were not just slowing down, but just getting a little bit boring and repetitive. And there were times when I feel like they tried too hard. For example, the track with the track race. You'll know which scene I mean when you see it. They definitely tried to put in some action in there, and it was just unnecessary and boring, and I really didn't care for it. And it wasn't fun, it wasn't festive, it was just dull and kind of a sign like they were trying too hard. And they could have removed that. That would have knocked off, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. I'm not entirely sure how long that scene went on for, but it was too long. And there are other places here and there where scenes added nothing, they weren't interesting, and it definitely feels like there's a lot of padding in this, and that really slowed a lot of things down. So it's not perfect. I think it still needs a bit of work, But that being said, it's a fun concept. There's enough comedy in it for me to say it's a pretty funny film. It's not hilarious. I don't think I ever laughed out loud, but it put a smile on my face here and there. And as I said, visually, really, really appealing. Eddie Murphy was great. Jillian Bell as Pepper was great. Everybody's performances absolutely fine. And there is a lot of Christmas in this. There's a lot of Christmas. So if you're looking for a film to get you in the Christmas spirit, it might well do that job. We have a lot of Christmas songs, namely the 12 Days of Christmas. So it is a good film, but it could have been better. I think it needed a bit more work. It needed a bit more tidying up, getting rid of things that just didn't move the narrative forward, sorting the pace out a little bit. But in general, it's a fun idea, it's relatively well executed, it's very festive, and we have some good performances. So if it sounds like your kind of film, give it a go. It may not be as good as I had hoped, but I still enjoyed it. Candy Cane Lane isn't perfect, but it's still pretty decent. If you're looking for a Christmas film that you haven't seen, and you haven't seen Candy Cane Lane, I'd say head to Prime and check it out. It's probably worth the watch.